Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this morning for our Early Childhood State of the State updates for summer 2022. I am pleased to be joined today by several of our colleagues. My name is Erin Carroll. I'm the Executive Director of Early Childhood, and we will be spending the next hour going through some of our key accomplishments and upcoming goals for the next year. We have a lot to cover. We will be recording this session so that we can share it further after we're done. But without any further ado, I will turn it over to Jenna Conway, our Deputy Superintendent for Early Childhood, to get us started with our presentation. Jenna?
Wonderful. Thank you, Erin, and thank you to my colleagues at the Department of Education. I'm Jenna Conway. I'm our Deputy Superintendent, and I'm so excited to be here this morning and to be able to present this information to you. It is a lot of information. I promise that I will not read every word on the slides, but a really important conversation as we reflect on all that we've accomplished over the last year and what we look forward to next year. We are crossing our fingers and toes that there will not be any technical issues this morning. We've had a few challenges in the last week or so. But with that, let's go to the next slide, Erin, and get us started. So our focus for today will really be on our accomplishments. And I really want to emphasize the R. This is not just about the Department of Education or a handful of leaders here in our offices across the state. This is really about our collective work together. Our partners like the Early Childhood Foundation and Elevate Early Education, Voices, our Ready Regions, our United Way and YMCA partners, and all of our practitioners across the state. And as we go through these slides today, I hope that all of us will feel really proud about what we are doing on behalf of Virginia's littlest learners. We will also begin the pivot as we not only reflect on this year, but start to talk about next year. July 1st always marks the beginning of a new fiscal year for us here in state government, and an opportunity to take that step back, reflect on all that we have done, and also get excited about what's to come. So that's our agenda: share challenges and our vision for the future. We'll talk about our accomplishments in quite a bit of detail. We'll go through them kind of one by one. So we are really trying to make sure that we're highlighting the extraordinary work that you're doing across the state. And then if we've got some time at the end to see if there's any questions that you might have for us. I am hoping that today will not be the end of this presentation. As Erin noted, we will provide these slides and recordings, but I'm also hoping that there are things in this that you can take and share with your families, share with your community partners, share with others within your locality or community or region, because this really should be something that we're sharing together and making sure we're highlighting the extraordinary work happening in the early childhood sector here in Virginia. Next slide, please. With that, you're probably familiar by this point on what we always start with in our presentations, and that's really what drives our work together. And so I want to take a moment just to recognize our continued shared challenge of how we work together to make sure that every child in the Commonwealth has the opportunity to come to school ready. You've seen this slide before. This is not new data. The new spring kindergarten readiness data should be coming out in a matter of weeks. But we know that it persists and that not every child in Virginia has the opportunity to come together ready. We always come back to this slide because it is opportunity for kids that drives our work. And so we know we've got to make that blue bar bigger. We've got to make sure that more kids have the opportunity to come to school ready in terms of literacy, math, social skills, and self-regulation. And we know that so much of that depends on access and choice, as well as quality in our early childhood sector. So, again, you've seen this before. So, Erin, somebody's saying they do not see slides.
They should be projecting. Are others having trouble? Type into the chat if so.
Okay, okay, so it sounds like other people can see it. All right, so maybe we can help that individual.
Yeah.
If not, again, please keep listening in, and then we can send the slides to you afterwards. So it remains true that there are just too many kids in Virginia do not have this opportunity to start school on time. We go to the next slide, please. And unfortunately, access to opportunity doesn't look the same across different populations in Virginia. And so when we look at school readiness, we know that our Black and Hispanic students are less likely to have that opportunity to come to school ready. We know that our children who live in low-income households are less likely to have that opportunity. Our English language, our dual language learners, and our children with disability, 2/3 of them are coming to school not ready. And while this is deeply concerning and continues to drive our work, we also know that we've got a ton of evidence from Virginia that shows that early childhood does work and does matter for readiness. And so that's why you'll sort of, we always sort of start with these slides, noting that the work you do every day can help move these numbers, can help give more kids opportunity. We also know, and you guys know this very well from the conversations you have locally with kindergarten, first, second grade educators, that kids who come in ready, it doesn't just get better once they enter elementary school. And we wanted just to share some data with you. If we go to the next slide, please, on what happens in early elementary. And so this is some really important data that shows that we, over the last few years, largely due to the disruptions caused by the pandemic, are seeing more and more kids at risk of not being sort of well positioned to learn to read in kindergarten, first, second grade. And so really noting that our work together, we have to sort of continue to serve as many kids in quality early childhood experiences, help make sure more kids come to school ready, because if not, we know that we're seeing some setbacks in those early grades as well. You might say, wow, Jenna, this is a rather disheartening way to start this presentation, but that's not the intent here. I know you all, and I know we in this sector are eternal optimists, and we are obsessed with opportunity. And as we talk about some of our accomplishments, I want you to take that and sort of hope that it brings urgency to our work, because of the work that early childhood does and the impact we can have. We know we can change these trends. So with that, Erin, let's go to our vision for the future. So you've also seen this information before, but I always think it's helpful to come back to what drives our work together. You know, I say it in every presentation, there's no single one of us, no single provider that can serve all kids birth to 5. Fundamentally, we have to work together if we want to build a Virginia where all children have the opportunity to enter school ready. We know that some of that is about access and choice, funding programs to be able to offer slots across our public, private, parent choice system, family childcare, religious exempt, early Head Start, early childhood special education, mixed delivery and private settings, as well as our public school offerings, making sure that all families can access something that's affordable and meets their needs. We are really sort of in the middle of building what I think is one of the nation's most exciting measurement and improvement systems, making sure that each of your classrooms, your infant, your toddler, your preschool, your mixed age classroom or learning setting is measured and supported to improve so that everybody can choose quality. We've got to focus on funding, and you'll hear us talk a lot about that today, so that we recognize you for meeting these expectations and continually improving, and that we competitively compensate our educators, which I know is a pressing issue. And ultimately, in partnership with you, we want to continue to use information and data to build the best system in the country, right? To make sure that more kids each year have that opportunity to come to school ready. With that, let's talk a little bit about the areas and how we sort of organize our work, as we'll use this same frame to organize some of our accomplishments. Before jumping into the detail here, I just want to note again that this takes a state to do this type of work. This is not a highlights reel for the Virginia Department of Education. The partnership that you all are doing day in, day out across the region, across our state, the collaboration, the cooperation, and the innovation these are the things, as you'll see, the themes that kind of run across our work together and that are enabling us to do incredible things for families, for kids, and for our educators. This is our way of organizing our work. We think about access and choice, quality improvement, family engagement, health and safety, and regional capacity and innovation. And you see underneath these are kind of our sub goals. You also note these in our quarterly newsletter that goes out, and many of these came out of our collective work with the field around we developed Virginia's needs assessment and strategic plan. And we've really tried to be consistent year over year and coming back to these core areas that we know are essential to your work and essential to our work with kids and families. Let's move to the next slide and let's start to talk about accomplishments. I do want to offer one caveat before we jump into our accomplishments. I am extremely excited to highlight the remarkable work that is happening, but I also want to acknowledge that times are tough and I don't want to come across as tone deaf. I know how hard it is out there right now. I had to leave work a little early yesterday to pick up my kid, my 4-year-old from a childcare center because they were understaffed as they got into the late day. I know folks are facing teacher retirements at unprecedented level. I know we've got vacancies and closed classrooms. I know teachers are exhausted and burnt out. I know families are stressed because they can't get their kids into care, particularly our families of our babies. And so I want you to know that I acknowledge all of that is happening and we're not ignoring that when we highlight these accomplishments today. But I also think it's important that we recognize the extraordinary work, that we take this moment in time to take this step back and to feature and to highlight the work that you're doing. We do in each section also talk about where we're going from here and hopefully our continued work, we can chip away at, reduce, address some of those barriers and challenges that I know you continue to face. So please take this with a spirit of optimism that we're not ignoring the day-to-day challenges, but want to make sure that everybody can feel really good about how resilient, powerful, and impactful you've been, even in spite of all of those challenges. So let's talk about access and choice. Huge accomplishment this year. We were able to bring enrollment back. So you heard me talk a year and a half ago about historic drops in preschool enrollment we've never seen before. And as a sector, we brought them back and then some. We saw more kids in mixed delivery, more kids in VPI. We dramatically brought numbers back on the child care subsidy, going from 14,000 kids up to 31,000 kids. Enormous amount of work for practitioners, those who support eligibility processes, and those who've been engaging families. So huge thanks. We've also worked really closely with Head Start and early Head Start programs who serve our most vulnerable kids and families who've been most worried about coming back into in-person settings. Do a shout out to our Head Start Association and our Association of Community Action Agencies for really working with Head Start partners across the state to address those family fears, to bring programs back, really kind of, the laser focused on full enrollment. Next slide, please. We've been coordinating enrollment in unprecedented ways. We've really helped to make sure that we're working across programs at the local or regional level to make these processes work easier for families. We now have half of our communities are participating in coordinated enrollment activities. We've got our PDG community networks, and we're sort of evolving next into Ready Regions, but they've been doing innovation pilots using technology and other techniques to reach more families, to put more information at their fingertips and to help them to enroll. And we're very excited about some coordinated enrollment technology happening. And we've been working with the Ready Regions have really kind of come into effect in the last 6 months with a real focus on how do we support coordinated, accessible enrollment across our regions. And with the advent of the Ready Regions, it means that every community, every locality, every city and county is now part of our statewide system. And so that will enable sort of full statewide coordinated enrollment in years to come. Next slide, please. We have made huge strides in expanding eligibility. And ultimately, you go back to how do we as a state work to make sure that more kids have the opportunity to come to school ready? We've got to make more kids eligible for public funds if we think that there might be a risk of them not coming to school ready. And we've done that across our programs, particularly in child care subsidy program, increasing the income limits, making sure that families who are looking for work can access this, eliminating co-payments so it was more affordable for families. We've expanded eligibility for Virginia Preschool Initiative over the year. We've approved more programs to use those local eligibility waivers, and we've added 3-year-olds to both the Virginia Preschool Initiative and mixed delivery programs in big numbers and in both public and private settings. So a lot more kids and families are eligible, which positions our programs to be able to serve more kids. All right, big sort of accomplishments there, improvements in coordinated enrollment, bringing our kids back, engaging our families deeply, and ultimately working at the state level to make sure that our policies support your work to make as many kids and families as eligible as needed to sort of improve school readiness. Where do we go from here? There's a lot of words on these 2 slides, and we tried to do this on one slide at first and it didn't work, but we have a huge budget that was approved by the state. I can't even tell you how excited we are, and it's a model of bipartisanship. This was a budget that was first proposed under Governor Northam. The early childhood piece was picked up by Governor Youngkin. Both sides of our General Assembly, one which has a Republican majority, the other one has a Democrat majority, all are in agreement that early childhood matters and we need to make investments in access and choice. So we are expanding birth to 5 enrollment. We're not just satisfied to get back to pre-pandemic levels, but we're going more from there. We have 2,000 kids set to benefit from mixed delivery, including a brand new infant and toddler pilot. Up to 27,000 kids are slated to benefit from VPI, with over 2,000 of those slots. These are slots that didn't even exist a few years ago. 2,000 slots in our community-based settings. And we're setting our aim high for child care subsidy program, unprecedented levels for Virginia, up to 38,000 children to benefit from child care subsidy. We're going to continue to strengthen coordinated enrollment through the ready regions, hiring dedicated staff, testing new technology, building out communities of practice so we can learn from each other and really make sure that our models for enrollment are coming from communities and shaping kind of the statewide effort. We have really important language in our state budget that requires us to fund programs based on the cost to meet quality expectations. That is huge, folks. That means we need to move away from just back of the envelope or market-based calculations to saying, what does it take to meet our expectations, similar to how we do in K-12, right? Here are the standards, and we fund you to meet the standards, and supporting you then to be successful. And we were able to get that in the budget. Our elected officials agreed with us for the Virginia Preschool Initiative, mixed delivery, and the child care subsidy program. So what does that mean? If you'll take it to the next slide, please. Lots of words on this slide, but basically getting more money per kid for VPI and mixed delivery based on the standards of quality, looking at the regional costs for mixed delivery, knowing that you have different operating costs, and making every child with an IEP eligible for both mixed delivery and VPI, regardless of household income. So big changes there, and that helps us get to more kids served in VPI and mixed delivery while also funding those programs to be successful. Huge changes as well for child care subsidy. And some of you heard me in the public hearing most recently speak about that, but making a set of changes, removing the time limits, supporting parents who are in job search, setting 85% of the state median income is the sort of the cutoff, which is the highest possible amount allowed under the federal government, paying more based on enrollment and covering more days of closure, setting rates higher based on the cost that it actually serves to operate. And our initial analysis sounds, for example, for 99% of the rates we believe for family childcare will go up. And we'll do a hold harmless if for some reason the methodology doesn't increase your rate. So everybody will stay where they are, at least go up in the next year, and ultimately making sure that we are making this affordable for families with a new co-payment structure and working really closely with our local departments of social services to keep waitlist to a minimum, if at all. Whew. I have to take a breath after saying that, but really exciting things to come when we think about funding our programs to be successful, which we also know can help address competitive compensation. All right, shifting gears here, let's talk a little bit about quality improvement and what we're doing there. Next slide, please. All right, so we have successfully launched and completed practice year 1 of VQB5. They said it couldn't be done. We had a pandemic to deal with, but thanks to PDG, VECF, Link B5, and extraordinary partners across the state, we have over 50% of our publicly funded programs participating, 4,400 classrooms receiving feedback. We completed more than 10,000 observations this year. 20,000 users entered information into Link B5, our new unified portal for capturing information about educators and kids in classrooms. We again, 10,000 class observations, 96% of those classrooms participated were able to get observations done this spring in an incredibly difficult environment. What that means, that's so many teachers. That means that's at least, right? We're probably talking between 8,000 and 10,000 educators who've received feedback at some point this year. And we now have a crew of nearly 800 observers statewide. That's a 500% increase from 2019 in terms of folks who know what excellent looks like in our infant, toddler, preschool, and mixed age classroom, and are helping bring that lens to the work they do day in, day out. So unbelievable year. One of the things I'm most proud about, if we go to the next slide though, is not only are we supporting educators to improve their practice, but we're putting our money where our heart is. We had more funding for educators this year through Recognize B5, our unique and innovative educator incentive. More than 6,000 childcare and family childcare educators signed up for Recognize B5, which we increased to $2,000 per educator this year. And as when we think about improvements more broadly, we now fund more than $35 million to support teachers and coaching and curriculum and all sorts of supports for you. This chart makes me feel really proud when you look about where we were in 2019 and how many educators we've supported. Year over year, we're giving educators more money per educator, and we're increasing the number of educators who are benefiting. We're getting national recognition for this incredible incentive, which is helping hopefully stem some of or reduce some of the dramatic turnover, although I know times are still hard. Next slide, please. When you talk about, well, what is some of that $35 million kind of going to do? What are we doing to support classroom learning? We've approved more than 40 curriculum options for you so that you can use something that makes sense for your classroom and setting as you support learning. We also heard from many of you, including many in family childcare and childcare, that you couldn't afford or didn't have access to a high quality curriculum. And so we've made available a free or low cost option, Stream in 3, and we've been working to sign up more than 2,000 classrooms to receive training and support to use this curriculum. So there's not a gap between those who can afford to purchase curriculum and those who can't, while we're making sure that there's tons of options for each school, Head Start, childcare, and family childcare setting. We've made strides in expanding the use of our Virginia Kindergarten Readiness Program. I know kindergarten's in the name, but we've actually expanded it to 4-year-olds, helping us better understand where kids are at in terms of literacy, math, self-regulation, and social skills, and supporting educators to meet kids as well as use that information to support their classrooms. We've launched an early learning development standards micro-credential, a really cool innovation with Radford that has now over 1,000 participants, really helping you demonstrate your knowledge and understanding of our birth to 5 standards and how to apply them to support kids' learning and development. And we, through partnership over many years, have been focusing on mental health consultation, which is a fancy word for intensive coaching with educators to support the behaviors that kids are bringing to our classrooms. And we know that kids' behavior often represents what they're going through, and our kids have been through a lot. And so huge thanks to CDR, our Infant Toddler Support Network, and UVA for their work to pilot this really unique model. I've heard from child care center directors, I've heard from elementary school principals on the value that this coaching provides to educators and how it in turn supports kids to help manage those very big and real feelings. Oh, take another breath before we talk about what's next. So where do we go next with quality improvement? So big things on the horizon. We've got our second practice year, and we're hoping that we will convince all of you who receive public funds to participate so that you have an opportunity before you're required to participate in fall 2023 to understand what the system is, to benefit if you're eligible from Recognize B5, and to get that feedback and support to your educators. We are super duper excited to announce that we are going to increase again the funding for Recognize B5. Our state leaders, and please thank your delegates and your senators, doubled the state funding for Recognize B5, doubled, went from 5 million to 10 million each of the next 2 years, which means we can increase the amount up to $2,500 per educator next year and up to $3,000 in the 23-24 year. So really exciting. We know you need more. We know we've got to get to competitive compensation, but at least putting our money where our heart is in the interim. And please thank your elected officials for that. We'll continue to expand VKRP, making it available for more 3- and 4-year-old classrooms. So if you're not participating and interested, we'd love to hear from you. And we will continue to deeply invest in supporting quality across the board. And I have too many partners to name here, but to those of you who receive our funding to support, to coach, to offer professional development, support on health, safety, learning, we thank you. And again, if you receive your results, you're part of PDG and you're not feeling like you're getting the support you need, please don't hesitate to reach out to your Ready region and we will connect you with supports. All right, family engagement. We've heard loud and clear from you all over the course of the last few years how important families are. Our families, our parents, our guardians, our extended families are our children's first educators. And so we've been working really closely with you and have some exciting accomplishments over the last year as it relates to family engagement. Based in large part in this feedback coming from you, we've made family engagement one of our 4 priority areas for Ready regions. And they've also have dedicated staff and time and personnel to build out the capacity of each of our Ready regions to support family engagement. We have heard a lot from families. We've done a ton of family surveys. We know and hear of the challenges that families are facing, and we've used that throughout to shape our responses. And our Ready regions are doing some really innovative work to set up family councils to really think through across all of Virginia's unique communities and regions. How do we create governing bodies, right? Bodies that have real voice, real input into policy and practice, so we can hear from our families and use their perspectives to shape how we engage, strengthen, and continue to grow our system. So look for more information to come this fall on those family councils and really be thinking about who are the families within your programs who you know have great insights and can help contribute to this work, because we want family voice to lead our efforts going forward. We also think about capturing family voice through extensive surveys. And if we move to the next slide, please, we'll talk about how many families we've heard from, as well as educators, but really kind of 13,000 survey responses. And again, you might say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of the surveys, but it's been so important for us, as well as our Ready region, VCF, and other partners in the field to get this information so that we can be responsive to the needs of our families, our educators, and our programs. We know that the relationships that our PDG networks and now our Ready regions are building is really important. And we've been really excited to work closely. So for example, when we've been talking about these changes to the family copays, not only have we been working with providers, but working with groups like the Virginia Promise Partnership Parent Advisory Group to make sure that we at the state level, we here in Richmond, are hearing directly from families across the state as we look to improve these works. And I think that's helping us really make sure that we are taking a family first perspective in this work. So a lot of work. We know families were incredibly busy. We know that families of young children faced extraordinary stressors last year, and yet we're really excited that with your partnership, we've been able to deeply engage families throughout this really tough year and use their insights and perspective to shape our work going forward. With that, Erin, let's go to our work going forward. So we continue to challenge ourselves to say, how do we engage, better listen, and involve families? And so Ready Regions will really be the leader in this work in partnership with VCF and organizations across the state. They will work with groups like UVA and JMI and others to kind of focus groups and surveys and family councils, continually getting information and insights from families. We're also looking at across our tools, whether it's Stream in 3 or VKRP, how do we make sure that there's websites and apps and things for families to go to so that they can get information about how their kids are doing, what they should look for. And we'll be doing work to kind of think about, well, what information do families need and how do we include that in our VQB5 site quality profiles in the future? None of this will be public yet, but really making sure that we're taking families' needs into consideration as we think about sharing that information in the future. And this is where the coordinated enrollment work comes together with the family engagement work, really thinking about, as we have more options and our elected officials are funding more slots for kids, making sure that we continue to reach out to those kids and families in greatest need, and to support these programs. Next slide, please. All right, let's talk about health and safety next. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so I just switch it out. Erin, can you all see me?
We can.
Excellent. All right. So the health and safety. So some of you know, a year ago, we moved over the Office of Child Care, Health and Safety to the Virginia Department of Education, the last really important piece in the unification of early childhood. That was a huge shift for our health and safety, our licensing specialists and inspectors. And I just want to say a tremendous thank you to them. Lots of up and down, moving agencies, moving offices, changing technology, you know, all of the kind of systems change there. And these individuals have done that while also returning to in-person inspections and figuring out how we work really closely with providers to think about things like increasing access, supporting families during this tough time, making sense of COVID-19 guidance. It has been a ton of work, and really want to sort of thank them, our staff and team members, for their work first. I also want to thank our colleagues at the Department of Social Services and our local departments. We've continued to collaborate with them as we unified the system. And again, figuring out all the nuts and bolts and all the details of the transition has been tough, but we've been able to work together to do better things for kids and families in the Commonwealth. We have made a lot of changes to forms and templates and trainings, and you all have been great sports as we have unified at DSS. Our website changed. You're like, where do I go to find this information? We don't talk as much about COVID-19 now, but you've been great, sort of very patient as sort of with each step or evolution in this process. We've provided new guidance, we've done webinars, and really appreciate your partnership as we work to keep kids, educators, and families safe. We are working really closely, we go to the next slide, with the field to think about how we can keep kids healthy and safe, but also provide, you know, a better experience for providers. And this is important work that has happened. I want to give a shout out to our work group. So we have a Child Day Center regulation work group that meets monthly and is from top to bottom and bottom to top, going through our Child Day Center regulations line by line, piece by piece, figuring out where we can streamline regulations, where we can modernize expectations, where we can minimize things that might not be as important, and really making sure that we're doing this shoulder to shoulder with providers. We've got after school providers, we've got infant and toddler providers, we've got big programs and small programs, but systematically making sure that we're coming up with a set of regulations that enables us to partner and work together to keep all of our littlest learners healthy and safe across our settings. That work will continue, and I'll talk a little bit more about next steps there, but that's a ton of time from some of our members of our Early Child Advisory Committee and others who are working on this, and more to come there. We've launched a new platform, our Child Care Application Processing System, CCAPS, which you all are using now for background checks, and really trying to modernize the application process for you when you apply or renew or seek a background check. And as I noted before, continuing to work really closely with you as we come out of the COVID pandemic, or I guess what we really need to say now is we sort of, fully adapt to a world with COVID that's probably not going away, and really sort of thinking through how do we do in-person inspections? How do we think differently about using technology to reduce the time spent in your programs, right? Sort of what can we do via technology now that we know how the world can operate differently? And ultimately kind of supporting you as we know you're under tremendous pressures, how to keep everybody healthy and safe while also, making your bottom line, paying your educators, and satisfying your families. And we know you wear many hats. And so really exciting work over the last year as we've transitioned over focused really intentionally on partnership and working with you to revise and overhaul these regulations. So where do we go from here? What's next for health and safety? So this work is well underway. I think if I can recollect correctly, we're at about 6 of 9 sections of the regulations have been reviewed. And please don't worry. 1, this work group is highly representative. 2, we've got to take this to the Early Childhood Advisory Committee. And 3, we will put this out with plenty of notice. So you might say, well, what does this mean for me? We will post this, we will make it available, we will do a survey so you can give us your feedback. We really want this to be an inclusive process. I want to do a shout out to our work group that has dedicated a significant amount of time to reviewing these recommendations, giving us advice and counsel, particularly to Grace Creasy, who has helped work on the Early Childhood Advisory Committee now and has most recently been named to our Virginia Board of Education. So again, it's really exciting to have multiple representatives on the Virginia Board of Education who bring a deep understanding of early childhood and preschool. So very huge thanks to that group, and really excited to kind of continue to have both the board, our ECAC, as we look to revise these regulations to have folks who understand early childhood, in addition to tons of opportunity for engagement. We're continuing to work on the technology. We know that there have been some bumps along the road, but we also know that you're tired of paper systems. And so figuring out how do we make it easier for you to apply and renew? How do we make your processes go sort of more seamlessly, take up less time around inspections and renewals, as well as background checks. And so Jeff and the team are continuing to work with DSS, with VDOE, which is our statewide technology agency, and outside partners to make technology work better for you. And as we talk about new regs and new technology, we realize that might raise questions and concerns. And so we're dedicating more staff within the Office of Health and Safety, as well as working with partners. So shout out to Child Care Aware and others, Better Kid Care. How do we make sure that we have good training, good technical assistance, good support and partnership to support you to implement these changes? We also know, we've heard from you, that there's a real challenge around new teachers, right? With these high turnover rates, you have more new teachers who might not have early childhood experience and might be overwhelmed by the health and safety expectations or the quality expectations. And so really thinking through how we can better support you to support all those new educators. All right. So much exciting stuff. So again, we're 4 or 5 in here. We talked about access and choice. We've talked about quality improvement. We talked about health and safety. We talked about learning. And now we're getting into regional capacity and innovation, our last of our few areas. So let's move to the next slide, please. I am really excited to note that we have been able to undertake and implement a successful implementation of Ready Regions. So this is something you've probably heard about over the last few months. We realized after piloting and trying things out in Virginia that we needed a different model to make sure that every last community, no matter where you were on the map, every last program or publicly funded program, every last site, every last classroom, every last educator was included. And we haven't always been able to do that in the past in Virginia. And so in very close partnership with the Virginia Early Childhood Foundation, we've scaled out Ready Regions statewide. We're providing several $1 million, I'll talk in a second about it, to community organizations in each of these regions to support coordination, to build relationships with every single one of our publicly funded providers, to build out VQB5, our measurement and improvement system, and deepen our engagement with families. And you've heard me talk about that throughout today. Our goal this year, along with VCF and our Ready Region partners, is to get to 100% of our 6,000 publicly funded programs. It feels like a daunting lift, but if you look back to where we were in 2019, where we started with 11, and then we went to 17, and we've continued to grow, we think it's possible, and we think investing in this infrastructure is important. So no matter where you are in the state, you feel like you can reach out to somebody who's in your region, within your body community, who can support you to be successful. Whew. All right, with the next slide, and those are linked there too if you want to check out your Ready Regions. I just want to take a moment to highlight some of the innovation happen. You've probably heard it throughout the presentation today, but even in a time of extreme stress with real barriers and challenge, Virginia, and thanks to the work of you and your colleagues across the state, we are innovating at all levels of our system. We are developing, like the Ready Regions model, an innovative model for thinking about how we include all programs, all educators, all families, all kids. You're testing it, you're piloting it. Piloting means that some things go well, some things don't go as well. You're constantly coming back to, right, the kind of the phrase we say, building the airplane as it goes, and it's all the kind of bumps and challenges along the way, and yet you're doing it and you're thinking differently, and that's so important. Our local communities are innovating in lots of new and unique ways. How do we communicate differently, right, in a pandemic with programs that the family childcare and the school and the Head Start partner? How do we coordinate to think about getting these observations done or making the kind of enrollment work easier for families? And how do we learn from each other? And this is one of my favorite parts of my job, is when I get to listen in to PDG community networks or Ready Regions and practitioners on the ground who are leading the way from their communities. And we're figuring out how to connect South Side with Southwest, Nova with Tidewater, Central Virginia with the Eastern Shore, right? Bringing people together to say, how do our local ideas and vision help inform the work statewide? We are using data, all sorts of data, evaluation data, quantitative data. We have surveys of sites, leaders, educators, families, and we're using that information at both the state and regional and local level to shape our policy and practice, right? We want the voices, those closest to kids, to shape how we work going forward. And we have thousands and thousands, and we actually put out tons and tons of reports, way too much to read, but really just recognizing the incredible work that you're doing on the ground. And through Link B5 and the 20,000 users that are logging on to Link B5, we're helping to build a really robust data infrastructure. I won't go too much into the weeds here, but it's really important. The data that you're contributing, that your educators are adding, helps us paint the picture for our elected officials, for the national audience, for people within your community, so we can show that early childhood works, that early childhood matters, that the things that you're doing are fantastic. And in fact, we need more of them, right? And helps us build the case for increased investment, helps us say, we need to pay our educators competitively. We need to fund more kids. We need to support our leaders in these ways so that they can be successful. We need to hear from our families and offer the options and fund the options that make most sense for them. And we need that technology. We need those survey results. We need that information to build that case and to be able to go back year over year, make the most of every federal dollar available, continue to compel our legislators in a bipartisan way to increase investment, and to kind of continue to work with you to make it easier for you to be successful, to grow, to expand, and do incredible work with kids and families. We also wanted to highlight, as before we come out of this section, some unique work around stabilizing the childcare sector and just kind of acknowledging, our childcare sector, which never closed in Virginia, and has just done a remarkable job of supporting working families throughout the pandemic. A year and a half ago, the American Rescue Plan was passed, and it really gave direct funding to states to run a grant program. Virginia was ahead of the curve in partnership with our colleagues at DSS. We had already run 4 rounds of CARES grant, but this took it to the next level. This was nearly $400 million, just over $400 million. And it said, you got to get that money out fast. And we have a whole new set of sort of strings and things attached to that. So we worked with you. We heard from our family child care providers. We heard from our big child care providers. We worked with the Child Care Association. We worked with Virginia Promise Partnership. We said, what changes do we need to make based on what we've learned from CARES? How can we better equitably support our providers? And how do we do all of this fast? And so we're really excited to announce that The department, in partnership with VCF and other colleagues across the state, has already gotten $380 million directly out to 5,000 childcare providers across the state. I don't think we've ever set up a data system in faster period of time. We know there were bumps. We know you got strange emails sometimes. We apologize for that, but we're really excited that we were able to get those dollars in your hands. We heard from you loud and clear how important they were to cover that bill, to offer a little bit more to your teachers. And we think we're one of the leading states in terms of fastest to get it up and operational and out. We are right now working on the final stages. There's a little bit of funding left over, which we will distribute out to you all within the upcoming months. And then I think we can all sort of really feel proud of ourselves. We know that not every state in this country has been able to get dollars out as fast as we have. And we also know that there's no better investments than putting those dollars in our hands. So we're really proud of our work with you and VCF to get you those checks and to get you that funding. I'm also really proud of how we worked with you to make a set of changes. There were things that we did with CARES grants that we learned from and we tried to make better, including making sure that we had a fair way of funding our family day homes. And so just huge thank yous for that. Also want to do a little shout out to VCF here. We know folks are still accessing, wanted to make sure you're aware of technical assistance and support as you're thinking about using those funds, some of the compliance requirements. So there's a section of the VECF, so vecf.org website in the ARPA section where if you need additional resources, we know some of you have spent all those dollars, some of you still working through them. There's a little bit more to come, but all in all, a real success for Virginia and getting these dollars out to you and doing it in a way that we think was fair and equitable and really helped support you through an incredibly difficult year. All right, so exciting stuff happening with Ready Regions, really important innovation, mostly being led by you all. We're just building the data system and doing the surveys to get the data and information at your fingertips. Where do we go from here? So you're going to hear us talk, us, VCF, partners within your communities, Ready Regions, Ready Regions, Ready Regions. We are funding Ready Regions at sort of more than $13 million this year to build relationships with all publicly funded birth to 5 providers, to focus on increasing access and choice, really making sure that your coordinated enrollment reflects the needs of your community, your programs. Supporting quality, we want to serve every single one of these programs through VQB5. We want everybody who's eligible signed up for Recognize B5 and really deepening that family engagement. You've heard these themes throughout, but recognizing that sort of the work that's happening at the state level, we want to make sure there's an arm in every region that understands your unique context, is supporting this work and making sure that every last provider is included and feels supported to succeed. We're going to continue to build out Link B5 and other technology systems, some of the work happening in around enrollment in our innovative communities, the work around licensing, figuring out how we connect all of these pipes so that we have better data, better information to inform you, your local officials, your local stakeholders, as well as folks at the state level when we think about budget and legislation going forward, and continuing to use that information to shape innovation. And we continue to work on partnerships. Now, I know this is a big ask of the Ready Regions who are leading the way, but we at the state level are also committed to this. We think we are stronger when we work together and looking at how we build and strengthen these partnerships. I know I often talk with the associations, our Child Care Association, I think we're talking Saturday morning, our Head Start Association, our Community Action Agency Association, our, all of the kind of the different associations of all of the groups, really important. We know that the Ready Regions will be setting up family councils and we'll want the state folks to engage with them. We'll continue to meet with our Early Childhood Advisory Committee, which you'll remember is our broadly representative group, but a lot of work over the next coming year. Some will be virtual, some I'm really excited to say will be in person, but you should expect, we know this is a lot of change and you should expect to hear from us and our partners every step of the way, because we want to make sure that your voice, your insights, your perspectives shapes the work as we go forward. Whew. That was a lot. I've been watching the time the whole time and I was a little nervous I wouldn't be able to get through all of it. And you think I've been talking too fast, but I really wanted to make sure I highlighted all of the extraordinary work happening across the state and across our various areas of work. Access, choice, quality improvement, family engagement, health and safety, and our regional capacity and innovation. And I don't know about you all, but I'm sort of, almost just exhausted thinking about all the work. I'm just really glad most of it was in the past, although the challenges ahead are daunting, but really exciting. All right, so where do we go from here? There is a lot on the horizon. Hopefully many good things for you. Hopefully things that will help you and your educators, your partners, your families, your kids to address some of the challenges, the very real challenges I know you're facing day in, day out. We encourage everybody to sign up for Readiness Connections. With so much happening, being able to stay abreast of what's going on is really important. It's a brief weekly newsletter. We've got about 12,000 subscribers. We got family childcare, schools, Head Start, stakeholders, you name it, you sign up for it, you get it each week, and it's the best way to stay on top of what's going on. If you're not already, we want you to get connected to your Ready region, okay? Making sure that they are the key regional source for information, updates, opportunities to get involved, and they will help us implement VQB5 so that there are no surprises, so you understand what's going on. They will help make sure you get registered for VQB5 Practice Year 2. Registration will start, I cannot believe we're almost the middle of July. I was going to say in weeks ahead in August, but actually, guys, it's only 2 weeks. Registration for Practice Year 2 will start August 1st and run through September 16th. And it's available for all early childhood sites in Virginia. Registration is the only way to be a part of the practice year, as well as for your educators to receive Recognized B5 if they're eligible. And so again, please connect with your Ready regions. If you're not already participating, fill out an interest form. And we are very, very excited about what's ahead, largely because we're going to be able to build on the success of the last year. And as you've heard in the last hour, and based on my being completely out of breath, it's just a tremendous amount of accomplishments. And I also wanted to share that we will take this information. We continue to engage our new administration, our new state superintendent, Jillian Balow, as well as our Secretary of Education, Amy Gadara, who's incredibly excited about what's happening in early childhood, and even all the way to the top. I've been able to present to our Governor Youngkin, all of the exciting things happening in early childhood. He's visited childcare programs. He's seen some of the challenges firsthand that you're facing when it comes to staffing. He also recognizes how incredibly important you are, not only in supporting those kids to come to school ready, but to make sure that families can work. And he knows that the bringing back the economy, supporting the economy through the challenges like inflation, the supply chain challenges, hinges on having a really strong public-private early childhood care and education system. And so please note that we are not only asking for your partnership and sharing this information about the state, but we're doing our job to make sure that key state leaders are aware of these accomplishments, as well as our ambitious goals for the year going forward. So with that, Erin, I'll pause and see, are there any questions or things that I can answer in these last few minutes before we wrap up?
Great. We have had a few questions come in, so I can share some of those with you. One question was about support for our teachers after they are receiving this increased number of class observations. So a question about plans for increasing coaching for educators, particularly for those in family day homes and dual language educators.
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I think we are working right now. So it's a pretty significant portfolio. It's dramatically increased, but statewide, when we add it up, it's about $35 million that we invest in partners to support teachers. And we know that each educator's needs are unique. So we piloted this mental health consultation model, which is that more intensive coaching, really focused for situations where the adults are finding the children's behavior really challenging, right? And we're looking at how we can continue to grow that and offer that. In other settings, we know that folks are really saying, well, I'm struggling with how to think about improving instruction day in, day out. I don't have a lot of resources to support me in that. And so we've signed up, right, those 2,000 classrooms for Stream and 3. and really not only just saying, hey, here's the curriculum materials, good luck with that, but really working closely with UVA and other partners to support educators to use them day in, day out. And we know that takes time, right? And getting used to the new materials and practice using the curriculum. And that's a big shift. Some of our data showed that over half of our family childcare programs and just under half of our childcare programs weren't using an approved curriculum right now. So really important. We also are making investments in our partners like the Infant and Toddler Support Network, like our Ready Regions, really thinking about what are the most important needs of their community and supporting that coaching, supporting that professional development. I will say it's a balancing act. We both want to kind of get a better understanding of what our educators need, but we also recognize, and we're hearing from providers, we've got a lot of new teachers out there, right? And so trying to sort out what is the more foundational training, and this is where things like the early learning development standards micro-credential is useful, where folks just need a 101 and need the basics. That's the most important need, as compared to maybe 2 doors down in another classroom, you've got a veteran educator who really needs more intensive supports on how to improve instruction or how to better support their kind of the classroom organizational structure. So a lot within that portfolio. And again, really working with our partners, right? There's not a lot sort of directly run by the state. It's almost all through partners because they're closer to you, closer to our communities, to make sure that we can get to every educator, every leader, help identify their key needs and serve to meet them. I also want to give a shout out to Head Starts and school divisions who are taking the class data and other information and really running with that. I would go out when I'm out in the field talking with teachers. I'm really struck by the different ways in which our different programs are making this information understandable and supporting our educators. So it really truly takes a partnership of all of the groups and organizations that support educators to make this successful.
Great. I think we probably have time for another question or two. We'll keep folks who are willing up until noon. We also got a question from a childcare provider who is not participating in subsidy currently, wondering which of these changes really apply to her and how to think about the content in this presentation.
Oh, no, that's a great question. So yes, a lot of this presentation is focused on our programs that take public dollars, right, to serve our kids and families in most need. But I'm really excited that other folks have listened in. You know, it will always remain a choice, right, whether or not you want to take public funds. And if you do take public funds, then you've got to be a part of VQB5 and the Ready Regions and all of that. And we will continue to add incentives, right? Recognize B5, the educator incentive is limited to those programs that take public dollars. For those of you that are not interested in taking public funds, we understand that choice. And we'll, instead of sort of focusing on the health, safety, and learning, we'll just really be focusing on the health and safety. And so some of what I talked about in terms of our new team at the Department of Education wanting to partner with you to keep kids healthy and safe, some of the work around overhauling the regulations, that will affect you as those come out, the new technology for background checks and for licensing, that will affect you. I want you to know that we have private providers on the Early Childhood Advisory Committee. Actually, our new board member, Grace Creasy, is a representative of private schools, as well as on this work group. So we're always, when we think about the health and safety regulations and any of the expectations that extend to our private only programs, we make sure to include private only programs at the table.
Great. And wanting to be very respectful of everyone's time, I know that we are just about at noon and folks have busy days to get to and maybe even some lunch if we can sneak it in there. So we'll go ahead and wrap up now, but want to thank everybody for their contributions, their questions, and their attendance. And of course, Jenna, for sharing these exciting updates. You can always reach out to early childhood at doe.virginia.gov with any questions or follow-ups, and we will be sure to share this presentation and slides with those who registered, as well as in Readiness Connections. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all so much. Take care and stay safe. Have a great day.